Ever wondered how a nation on the brink of collapse could rise to become a modern republic? Turkish revolutionaries were in a tough spot, fighting both a war and a rebellion while facing off against Greek neighbors and their own countrymen in Istanbul. But if they could win, it meant total freedom from the Ottoman government. What if I told you their victory meant total freedom and the birth of a new nation? Well, let's rewind a bit to understand why the Ottoman Empire fell apart. As the Central Powers saw their hopes of winning the Great War crumble, the Ottoman Empire scrambled to save itself from collapse. Grand Vizier Talat Pasha stepped down, paving the way for the Armistice of Mudros in 1918. This agreement left the Ottoman Empire severely weakened, setting the stage for its eventual dissolution. With Western powers occupying Ottoman lands and tensions mounting, resistance to foreign rule grew. Mustafa Kemal Pasha, appointed by the Sultan himself, became a pivotal figure. He rallied nationalists and formed the Grand National Assembly in Ankara to challenge the occupying forces and restore Turkish sovereignty. Here is the incredible story of Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, from his strategic brilliance in battle to the sweeping reforms that reshaped Turkey. Under Mustafa Kemal's leadership, the Turkish War of Independence began in earnest. The Greeks landed in Smyrna, prompting widespread resistance among the Turks. Mustafa Kemal, landing in Samsun shortly after, started organizing the resistance movement covertly. As he gained support across Anatolia, his defiance against the Sultan's government became clear. The nationalists quickly gained momentum, forming their own government and defying Western interference. Despite the Sultan's attempts to suppress them, Mustafa Kemal's forces pressed on, solidifying their control on Turkey. By 1923, Mustafa Kemal, now known as Atatürk, had established the Republic of Turkey, marking a definitive break from the Ottoman past and securing Turkey's future as a modern, independent state. Now, back to how Atatürk saved Turkey amidst the challenging circumstances. In Istanbul, facing both internal rebellion and external Greek pressure, the situation looked dire. The Sultan sought help from a Circassian hero named Ahmet Anzavur, who opposed Mustafa Kemal and the nationalist movement. Anzavur, viewing Kemal's supporters as dangerous Unionists and Freemasons, aligned with the Sultan against nationalists initially supported by the British. However, the British soon realized the immense challenge of suppressing the growing nationalist movement. War-weary and cautious of backlash at home, they began reconsidering their strategy. Turning to the Greek allies seemed like a viable option. This shift marked Turkey as a battleground between two entrenched authorities, the Sultan's government in Istanbul and the nationalists in Ankara. The Western powers feared that if left unchecked, the nationalists led by Mustafa Kemal would overthrow the Ottoman government, a government they felt they could manage. The nationalists' opposition to foreign control had been a primary cause of the conflict. Consequently, powers like Britain found a strategic interest in supporting the Istanbul government, even if indirectly through Greek involvement. By summer 1919, Greek troops had landed in Smyrna and clashes with local Turks ensued. The Greeks aimed to expand their zone of control amidst fierce resistance from nationalist forces. As autumn approached, tensions escalated, setting the stage for a pivotal phase in Turkey's struggle for independence. In 1920, the Greeks continued their eastward push to Anatolia, aiming to pressure the Turks into accepting the Treaty of Severus, a proposal for partitioning the Ottoman Empire that had already angered nationalists. This clash of goals came to a head on January 9, 1921, with the outbreak of the First Battle of İnönü. Turkish forces managed to halt the Greek advance and force them to retreat just 2 days after the battle began. This success paved the way for the ratification of the Turkish Constitution of 1921, less than 2 weeks later. Over the following months, the Conference of London allowed the Allies to discuss their responses to these Turkish developments. Despite continued Turkish refusal, the Allies, especially the British, remained determined to pressure the nationalists into accepting the Treaty of Severus. In March, the Second Battle of İnönü saw renewed Greek aggression, only to be repelled again by Turkish defenders. During this period, the nationalists solidified alliances with Italy, France, and the Soviet Union. Greece, facing mounting challenges and lacking Western support, shifted its focus to defending the territories it had already captured, such as Smyrna. By now, Mustafa Kemal, now leading the nationalists, was preparing his forces for a decisive move. They were readying for what would become known as the Great Offensive, starting with the Battle of Dunlopillar. On August 26, 1922, a decisive 4-day battle unfolded between Mustafa Kemal's forces and Georgios Hatzianestis' Greek. The Greek troops, already weary and demoralized under the command of the controversial Hatsan, swiftly succumbed to the Turkish assault. Pushed into a disorganized retreat towards Izmir, the Greeks faced relentless pursuit by the rejuvenated nationalists filled with determination and fervor. In the ensuing weeks, Greece's holdings in Turkey fell rapidly, marking a swift reversal of fortunes. Observing the evacuation of the Greek allies' lands, the British contemplated military intervention, but public opinion in Britain strongly opposed another foreign war. Despite British government inclinations under David Lloyd George to confront the Grand National Assembly fighters, Mustafa Kemal sought a middle ground. He agreed to negotiations at Madonia, despite Greek reluctance. The Armistice of Madonia on October 11, 1922 formalized the Greek withdrawal from eastern Thrace and imposed temporary restrictions on Turkish forces now representing the nationalists alone. The Istanbul government and the Ottoman Empire had effectively dissolved, with the Sultan's abdication prompted by nationalist pressure before the conflict's conclusion. The ultimate resolution of the Turkish War of Independence and the subsequent Greco-Turkish War came on July 24, 1923, in Lausanne, Switzerland, with the signing of the Treaty of Lausanne. This treaty confirmed the emergence of the Republic of Turkey as the successor to the Ottoman Empire. While it took a year for the agreement to take effect, the negotiations over 8 months resulted in 143 articles that delineated Turkey's new borders, resolved regional trade matters, and addressed public debts formerly owned by the Ottoman Empire. On October 29, 1923, Mustafa Kemal officially proclaimed the foundation of the Republic of Turkey and assumed the role of its first elected president. In 1934, the Turkish parliament honored him with the name of Atatürk, meaning the father of the Turks. Atatürk had transitioned from a military figure within the Ottoman Empire to a revered leader and revolutionary who led Turkey to independence and sovereignty. His legacy endures as the embodiment of Turkish nationalism and modernization, marking a transformative era in Turkish history. Under Atatürk's leadership, Turkey underwent profound transformations aimed at modernization and secularization. His vision for the new Republic of Turkey included sweeping reforms across various aspects of society and governance. One of the most significant reforms was the adoption of a secular legal system, replacing Islamic Sharia law with a Western-style legal framework based on Swiss civil law. This move aimed to modernize the legal system and separate religious affairs from state governance. Atatürk also implemented educational reforms to promote literacy and modernize the education system. The traditional Islamic education system was replaced with a secular education system emphasizing science, technology, and modern subjects. Primary education became compulsory, and efforts were made to increase literacy rates across the country. Economic policies under Atatürk focused on industrialization and economic development. He aimed to reduce dependency on foreign imports and promote domestic industry. Initiatives included the establishment of state-owned enterprises and infrastructure development projects to stimulate economic growth. Social reforms were also integral to Atatürk's vision for Turkey. He introduced measures to grant women equal rights in areas such as education, employment, and politics. Women gained the right to vote and stand for election in 1934, ahead of many Western countries. Atatürk believed that empowering women was crucial for the progress and modernization of Turkish society. Culturally, Atatürk promoted a sense of national identity and unity. He emphasized the importance of the Turkish language and encouraged the use of the Latin alphabet, replacing the Arabic script that had been used for centuries. This linguistic reform aimed to enhance literacy rates and facilitate communication with the Western world. Atatürk's reforms were not without challenges and opposition. Traditionalist and conservative forces often resisted these changes, especially in rural areas. However, Atatürk's determination and leadership steered Turkey through these transformations, laying the foundations for a modern, secular, and democratic state. The legacy of Mustafa Kemal Atatürk as the founding father of modern Turkey remains deeply ingrained in the country's identity. His reforms continue to shape Turkey's political, social, and cultural landscape, reflecting his enduring impact on Turkish history and society. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.